Man, I knew about that in the feds, man.
My people was telling me I gotta be emotional.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just act on it. You know what I'm saying? Let the police handle it. So I just let the police handle it.
Rumors been spinning online, asking did Tee Grizzley really get his own aunt pregnant and set her up? The street's been buzzing with wild talk, so here's how the whole mess actually gets told online. Back in 2016, his aunt JB walked away from her regular job just so she could hold him down as his manager and help push his rap career. She was the only one in the family riding for him like that, which is why this story hit so hard in 2019. Tee and JB were in Detroit and pulled up to one of Tee's cousin's spots. JB stayed in the car while Tee headed inside, and out of nowhere a shooter ran up, yanked the car door open, and ended her life right there. The way JB was taken out had everybody stunned. At first, folks thought the shooter was coming for Tee, and JB just got caught in a situation she never should have been in. A couple months later, Tee dropped a track dedicated to JB, and in it he rapped, "I pray they don't go to jail, I want them dead. I'm just listening to the streets, hearing everything they saying, I'm just waiting on the name, I'm just praying that they say it. Give a F if it's the mayor, million on his head." It sounded like Tee was ready to go all out over JB's death. But when he finally did his first interview after she passed, something felt off in the way he talked about it. He was literally playing Call of Duty during the interview while talking about his aunt, and half the time it felt like he was more locked into the game than the convo.
My people was telling me I gotta be emotional.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just act on it. You know what I'm saying? Let the police handle it. So I just let the police handle it.
JB was one of the closest people he had, and she played a huge part in him ever becoming a rapper. But during the interview, Tee almost sounded like he was drifting off while explaining what happened that night. A couple months before that same interview, Tee said he put a price on the shooters' heads and didn't want the police getting to them first. But then in the interview, he switched it all up and said he wanted law enforcement to deal with everything instead. The sudden change had folks online talking even louder, even though none of the rumors floating around have any proof behind them. Tee said, "The police handle it, so I just let the police handle it." But after that, the internet started pushing even more rumors, claiming there might be something wild behind JB's death. Everyone deals with grief differently, but the rumor mill kicked back up when new info came out suggesting people online believe Tee Grizzley could have had some kind of connection to the situation, even though none of it is proven. In July 2025, news broke that a guy connected to 600, a dude known as Wang, got arrested for the killing of JB. What made everything even crazier is that police had apparently been tracking Wang for years, and he was reportedly found with the weapon linked to the case all the way back in 2020. But the details didn't hit the public until recently, and that's when Wang's legal team allegedly said some wild things online about Tee being connected to JB's death. Again, none of this is confirmed, but the internet eats these kinds of claims up fast. Tee grew up in Detroit, but once he started buzzing in the rap game, he linked up with Tay Capone from 600. Tee even dissed one of 600's rivals on an unreleased version of No Effort when he rapped, "Extend a one, the Glock that bitch long as a pogo, let Lil Durk music get you hyped and join JoJo." After that, he started rocking more with Lil Durk and the OTF crew, but his strongest tie to 600 was through Buka 600. So when a 600 affiliate like Wang got charged in connection to JB's passing, people online instantly thought it meant Tee was in some kind of beef with them. But the rumors only got deeper. Reports said Wang got caught with the same gun that took JB's life and the car used during the hit back in 2020. And according to a Chicago figure named King Yella, people in the streets had supposedly been talking for years about who got booked for JB's case.
Before he started hanging with Lil Baby, it was Tee Grizzley and Lil Durk, right?
Okay, I remember that.
Bro, I was in the feds and I heard about that. Y'all playing crazy, y'all ain't know that. Who the is this though? It's a goofy. I don't know no Wu-Thang, Do-Thang, Shoe-Thang. I don't know. All I know is his ass is locked up in Detroit for Tee Grizzley.
If King Yella and others online were claiming they knew who allegedly pulled the trigger, the internet started asking if Tee Grizzley might have known too, and that's when people began pointing out how Tee's behavior seemed different ever since JB passed. But the wildest part is that Tee Grizzley kept rocking with Lil Durk, OTF, and folks connected to 600 after everything happened. In 2023, Lil Durk even shouted Tee out on the track 300 Euros, saying, "Andrew, you ain't my blood, then you can't listen to Tee Grizzley and me." That line showed Dirk and Tee weren't beefing at all, but the part that shook people was when he added, "You ain't gangster around her cause you ain't gangster around me. You a gangster around her cause you ain't gangster around C. If they call you backdoor man, you get from around me." And once he dropped those bars, the internet went wild saying it sounded like a shot at Tee, even though nobody confirmed that. Online rumors started spinning hard, with some people claiming Tee backdoored his own aunt by having outside shooters hit the scene. Again, no proof, just street gossip spreading fast. Then folks online started digging into the song Tee made for JB after she passed, saying he was basically self-snitching. In the track he rapped, "Look how they tried to do me but got JB. Man, that jealousy's so real, man, that hate's so deep." He then added that the shooter supposedly realized it wasn't him and still fired, saying, "You make it out of these streets, you saw it wasn't me and still shot. What'd she do to you?" People online questioned how Tee could have known what the shooter saw or didn't see. He made that song right after JB's death, and at that time, nobody publicly believed JB was the target. All that public talk made people think Tee was trying to get ahead of whatever stories might come out.
Y'all didn't know about that here?
We never heard about that. No.
Man, let's break down the signs. Tee Grizzley auntie got killed. When the last time you saw him and Dirk on the side of each other? Remember before that happened? They was like best friends. You forgot?
Then in the same song he rapped, "Hey JB, I wish I was sitting outside with you, and I was in the back with you, and you know your favorite rapper wouldn't have never let them guys get you. I would have shot him, wouldn't have ran." And then he added, "And you think they came for her? Man, you know they came for me." Those lyrics had the internet breaking them down like detectives, even though his words could have easily just been raw emotion from grief and shock. But the big question people online kept asking was, why would Tee ever want JB harmed in the first place? That part of the rumor never made sense, because JB played one of the most important roles in his life.
You can see some shit dead in your face, chat. That's not true. So you think you can't be fooled by the fucking internet?
Tee Grizzley started rapping when he was young in Detroit, part of a crew called All Stars Ball Hard, ASBH, dropping music on YouTube around 2011. But he was still caught up in the streets and ended up locked up on a robbery case in 2014. When he got out, JB was the only one truly pushing him to focus on music and leave trouble alone. His mom got hit with a 20-year sentence back in 2011, and his dad lost his life in 2012, so JB was one of the only adults he had left who actually supported him. She married Tee's uncle when Tee was around 10, so she had known him for most of his life. And when he came home from prison wanting to go hard with rap, JB quit her job and stepped in as his manager, making sure he had someone in this corner every step of the way. JB even put up the money for Tee to shoot his first day out video, the same track that launched him into the spotlight. After that blew up, Tee landed a deal with 300 Entertainment and Atlantic Records in 2017. JB didn't come from the music industry at all, but she caught on quick and even picked up managing other artists like Sada. She worked non-stop behind the scenes, handling business, organizing his moves, and even touching up his hair before interviews to make sure he looked sharp. That shows how tight their bond really was. But once the news hit in 2025 about 600 Wang being charged in JB's case, the internet started pushing wild rumors about why anyone would even think Tee was connected, even though there was zero proof behind any of it. One rumor claimed JB mishandled Tee's money and was skimming off the top, but nothing ever backed that up. Then social media jumped to an even wilder rumor claiming Tee was hiding some secret situation with JB. Again, no evidence, just internet imagination running loose. Those rumors didn't gain traction until 2025, and people pointed to a song Tee dropped right after JB passed where he rapped, "We loved each other way more than we love life. We were so close people thought we had a love life." Folks online twisted that into all kinds of angles, saying he was trying to get ahead of a story, even though the lyric could easily be about deep loyalty and family closeness. Later on, it came out officially that JB was not pregnant when she passed. This was confirmed through a coroner's report that surfaced because of 600 Wang's defense team. Since Wang's lawyers tried to bring Tee's name into the case, prosecutors pulled the actual medical files to shut down rumors with real documentation. That detail alone showed how far online speculation had drifted from reality, but people still kept pushing unverified theories. Some blogs also started claiming sources said JB's husband had been locked up months before she passed and Tee was around more because of that. But even those claims had no official backing and came from random online chatter. The truth is, the internet ran wild with stories, but none of them had solid evidence attached. What is confirmed is that JB was one of the most supportive people in Tee's life and helped carry his whole career when nobody else was stepping up for him. JB and Tee Grizzley weren't related by blood, but she had been his aunt since he was around 10, so the whole situation still hit heavy. Online discussions kept circling back to Tee's claim that the shooters were aiming for him, not JB. But when people compared that to what was in police reports, the story didn't line up the same way. According to those reports, 600 Wang was allegedly sitting near the spot where JB lost her life for almost 2 hours before she even pulled up. Investigators said the shooter used a phone to track someone's location, and folks online pointed out that Wang probably didn't have any reason to be posted in a random Detroit neighborhood that long unless he thought someone specific was pulling up. That detail made people online say the situation didn't match Tee's version, especially since he claimed he only stopped at that crib last minute to grab something. But if the shooter really waited 2 hours, people online started suggesting the shooter must have already known where Tee and JB were heading, even though none of this is proven, just what people on social media were arguing. Another thing that kept fueling online theories was what Tee's driver reportedly said about the moment it happened. The driver claimed Tee hopped out the car, and only about 45 seconds later, the shooter came up and opened the door on JB. That had people online saying Tee was probably still outside the car when the shooter ran up, and they questioned how the shooter wouldn't have seen him standing right there. Tee is a big dude, so blogs and forums started asking how anyone could miss someone his size standing near the scene. When Tee responded to the internet chatter about him being involved, he kept it short and simply said he wasn't entertaining every rumor. Maybe he didn't feel like explaining himself to the whole internet, but the calm reaction only made people online get even louder about their theories. And to make things wilder, someone on Reddit claimed Tee had a reputation for being a slimy dude back in Detroit before he blew up, though that was just one random online comment with no evidence behind it, yet it still spread fast because the internet loves drama. According to that online source, Tee Grizzley grew up in a Detroit area known as Gut Zone, a neighborhood linked to a crew called RTM. RTM had long-standing issues with another group called 22 Band Crew, and rumors online claimed Tee was mixed up in the situation where a 22 Band member named Squid lost his life. On top of that, Tee had a track with Detroit rapper Dex Osama, and later people spotted him hanging around someone who was allegedly tied to Dex Osama's death. None of this ever turned into real dirt on Tee, but it definitely made his name sound shady to people who love digging into street stories. Apparently, even the cops were side-eyeing him after JB passed. A blogger named Poetic Flacco claimed the police chief told Tee straight up that he knew he was involved, he just didn't know how yet. That kind of statement had the internet going wild, even though nobody ever saw proof of it. Now that 600 Wang is heading to trial, it's looking like his defense lawyer might try to throw the whole situation onto Tee Grizzley just to save his own client. And that means there's no telling what kind of details might get pulled up in court. If Wang's lawyers are pointing at Tee, that also means Wang is probably telling his lawyer whatever he thinks could help his case, even if nobody knows how much of it is real. So far, there's no confirmed evidence that Tee Grizzley had JB harmed, but the way the situation looks from the outside has people side-eyeing everything he does. He's not facing charges right now, but with how fast the streets talk and how the courts move behind the scenes, nobody knows what could happen once the 600 Wang trial kicks off. Some folks online even think federal investigators might already be putting something bigger together behind the scenes. If you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment telling me what you think happened in this whole case.